Hey everybody, did you know you could go to colinmullen.com in order to get art and art prints? That's why I set up the website, colinmullen.com. So, hey everybody, I realized in the last video where we did this that I didn't actually thank the people vocally. I just had it up on screen by doing this. And so I figured, hey, maybe it would be a good idea to actually, do that. And so I'm going to start the video with that rather than ending the video with it. So that way I make sure I actually do it. So thank you to my mom and dad. I love you a lot. My mom is actually helping with the art sale that's going on right now where I left a bunch of boxes of paintings. I'm selling them for $100 a box, and the box has like 2 to 4 paintings in it, somewhere in that range. And so that's been good. It's a way to get them out of their place and a little bit of a cash injection for us in our new situation. Anyway, I'm supposed to be thanking the people on patreon.com/RevScarecrow. Thank you, Wapfu. Thank you, Tofoundor. Thank you, Skelecorgi. Thank you, Reverend Joe. Thank you, Retrograde. Thank you, Mortis. Thank you, Kayla Hollinger. Thank you, Josepher. Thank you, Gala. Thank you, Gabriel Bennett. Thank you, Freak Wannabe. Thank you, Egg. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you, Chiptune Glitch. Thank you, Bep. Thank you, Amber. And thank you, Ants! Ooh, weird echo. Gotta make sure that I actually get this take right rather than continuing to screw it up. So yeah, I don't really have much to draw with, and I don't have my tools yet. So this will be the last video that's done in this weird sketch thing that I'm doing. But that being said, I hope that you enjoy at least, seeing my process in real time. I know that's a thing for some people, and it's nice. I think I need one more panel. There we go. So I really wish that I could have taken a picture of a lighthouse myself, but when we first got here, me and my wife decided to go, lighthouse looking. I don't know what the correct term for that is. We were being tourists is basically what it is. And I found out that most of them are on private land where you can't actually do that, which is unfortunate. Or they're on islands, which the thing about islands is they're usually not at a place where you can walk to, being that they're islands. So I couldn't really get any good pictures. So this is just a picture I found on Google of a lighthouse that I found on, like I said, Google. It's somewhere here in Maine. Like I said, it's a little unfortunate. One of the lighthouses we were about to drive up to, and then we realized we were about to go through a golf course. And not wanting to get arrested for trespassing, we decided to turn around. Not a great way to start a new place, visiting. Try and commit as few crimes as I can right off the bat, yeah. But, there's that. But yeah, so we got a new place, like I said, and it's beautiful. And honestly, I'm thinking about, was it Rene? Picasso? No, Pisario. A lot of these artists had really beautiful setups where they could just look out and they'd see France, or they'd see, I don't know, whatever. And the view is unfortunately very beautiful, but I say unfortunately because whilst my immediate inclination as an artist is to draw it and paint it and, do that as a reference, talk about plein air. I can just sit in my apartment and look out the window and see just like a beautiful landscape. Something really that could be in a Studio Ghibli film. I unfortunately should not, because that would be a way of doxing myself. And I'd rather like to stay here for a while. In fact, we've only signed on for a year, but I have a suspicion that we're going to sign on for a few more after that. My landlord is actually incredibly cool. And he undercharges drastically for what this place is worth. And as a result, that means that we can actually afford it, which was huge because all the places we were looking at were not in that range where we could afford them. Or they were run by slumlords. So we just happened to luck out. Like I had a guy come and knock on the door being like, hey, I finished the application to move in. And I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy. It's already been taken. Hence why I'm here. And he looked a little sad, but you know, you can't deal with it. I don't know what I was going to say, but honestly, I'm just excited that we're here. It feels like home. It feels like a forever home too. So all the more reason not to be drawing the stuff that I see out the window. And I wish I could describe to you some of the stuff that I see out the window. But again, it's so specific that it would probably, you know, be doxing essentially. And my wife was fairly adamant about not wanting to dox ourselves. And I agree with her, I'll be honest. I'm actually very surprised on how short lighthouses are. I expected them to be like 3 or 4 stories. Turns out they're only like 2 stories at most. I mean, I guess that makes sense as long as you put it on a hill, right? You just need it to be visible from the sea line and just, you know, let you know, hey, don't run into me. I mean, modern day, you got, I don't know, whatever, navigation systems and stuff like that, but isn't the lighthouse cooler? I think so anyway. That's why I wanted to go find some to look at and take pictures of and all that. I will say the architecture here is very different in New England than it is Texas. Texas, a lot of the stuff is new, you know, because it's a younger state relatively. Whereas in New England, you know, Maine, it's a lot older, you know. Some of this stuff has been around for, you know, 100 years or, you know, whatever, since like the founding of the country. And that, you know, obviously comes with its own moral quandaries and dilemmas and all that, but there's not a place in the United States that wasn't stolen at some point or another from the Native Americans and wasn't fought over for blood and such. So I think I have to kind of keep that in mind as I do what I do. But what I'm trying to say is that, I don't know. I feel a little weird about that. I think that's a reasonable thing. This feels like Lego talk. You know what I mean? Where you're just sitting with your friends and you're building Legos and you guys are just talking about weird stuff. Everyone's just kind of vibing with the conversation despite the fact that it's like, maybe it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but like whatever, because like you're building with Legos. I don't know as if you guys have done that or if you have a reference point for what I'm talking about. I might sound like a crazy person. And if I do, I do. I think you get the same sort of thing when you do art or when you I don't know, build Warhammer minis or any sort of little crafty thing, because you're really just focusing on what you're doing rather than, I don't know, whatever the thing is. I know this isn't like your standard art video that I do. Normally I talk about art theory and stuff like that, but I think that there's, it's worth it to just give you guys a life update, because the last one I had, I was worried about the neighbors yelling and stuff. And now we have like, I don't know, 18-inch walls in between us and the neighbors. A little bit curious if my neighbor, who I met yesterday, and I met their cats as well, which honestly was way more important to me. No offense to my neighbor, but I'd rather look at your cats because they're cats. Speaking of the cats, both Herman and Abby have been acclimating to the new changes, mostly through being confused about why it's cold. Abby gets very confused when it comes to just where things are and where we are. So she'll do her little like, hey, where is everyone cry. We have to go, hey, we're up here. We're asleep. That's why we're in the bedroom, on the bed, where we were last time he saw us. You know, we haven't moved because we were asleep, and then you woke us up. You're, I love her. I mean, you know, it's sketchy, but, and I really should add like the roof tiles and such, but I think it's fine. Do I want to add the other house? I don't know. Not particularly, but I can at least do like an attempt on it, you know? And really, I wish I had a better setup just for sitting. That's the main thing I'm worrying about right now is like, where do I sit? Because right now the answer is like the windowsill or the floor or the stairs. We have stairs because we got a townhouse in this situation, which is about the same price as the place we were living, but with all of the utilities included. So, I mean, it works out to the same, more or less. So it's, we got lucky. Anyone who's thinking about replicating our strat of just leaving for a new city, no idea where we're going to live, and then being homeless for like 3 weeks, don't recommend. Don't recommend at all. Don't do that. That is a bad idea if I've ever heard one. Oh, this is completely off because this needs to be way down here. Blah. Because this actually lines up down here with this guy. I mean, I guess I could do artistic liberty, but I feel like when you say artistic liberty and then you screwed it up, and the reason you're doing an artistic liberty is so you don't have to go back and fix it. It's not artistic liberty. You just screwed up and you're trying to make an excuse, in my opinion. And then it looks like the roof lines off with the top of the lighthouse tower deck area. We need to do a bit of shading up here as well. We might try and finish this guy off a little bit better than on the last one. You know, maybe actually use some ink or what have you. Oh, my nose is just running like crazy. I will say the allergies have made the change a bit different. But overall, I'm feeling so much better. Like, I haven't seen my wife smile this much in months. And, you know, just, she had that horrible job and we were living in a place that definitely had mold just growing out of the vents. And to change that and move into a place that, like, there's no real problems with this place, you know? Like, the internet service is not great. I will say that. But, I mean, I've been making do by, you know, streaming off my phone since I don't have my computer set up. And it's worked out. Oh, I just noticed there's a little fella of a chair here. Let's just go ahead and sketch him in real quick. I don't know. We'll see about inking depending on how long this video goes. But this is more of a life update thing. If you guys have topics that you want me to go over, let me know. As always, there's like a little bush here kind of obscuring that area. It's a little bit sketchier than everything else and it kind of stands out as a result. Let's try and fix that up a bit. Now, if I were properly doing this, I should probably do like aspect ratio and, or, you know, perspective lines and such, but we really can't do that. Or I guess I could, I'm being weird about it. I think one of the main things that you got to do when you're doing sketching is, or just art in general, is to make sure that you remember what a line is supposed to represent. In this case, there's like a little bit of like, I don't know why you would have this here, but like a paneling thing. And then almost immediately right here, there's a window. And I got to make sure that this line continues to be this molding, I guess. And that this ends up being where the window ends. And it connects up to a point right about there, which means we can erase this. For me, doing art is a bit like doing Sudoku. I don't know if that makes sense to any degree, but that's how it works in my brain, where it's like, once I figure out one thing, as far as where it is, I can figure out another thing because of the context of that. And that's kind of how Sudoku works. Oh geez, we're gonna have to finish up this video soon because my leg's falling asleep. sitting down crisscross applesauce, or whatever you want to call it. The name that I grew up with for this cross-legged position is not as kosher as it used to be. Well, it was never kosher, but you know. Times changed. People realized, hey, it's kind of messed up. So I might speed through the last little bit of this drawing, just that way my legs don't fall asleep and I don't like keel over as soon as I stand up. I need to work on that. But all in all, I think this is probably the happiest I've ever been. A lot of it does have to deal with like having that insecurity and that confusion on where we're going to be and whether or not we're going to be safe and whether or not we're going to be able to actually find a place, whether or not we're going to be able to keep paying for the hotel room and all the other stressors that were going on there, whether or not it's even possible to do this move. Do we have to move back in with my folks? You know, I mean, like they'd let us, but it would be a flight back and that's expensive in of itself, which means that we'd have to get jobs again in Texas, or, you know, maybe we go up to Tilda's folks and stay with them and dealing with that stress. And then actually finding a place with a landlord who's like, I would rather have a community of people who just stay for a long time that I can build a rapport with. And then I don't have to replace the carpet every other week. There's apparently some law about that. But also he just wants to have like consistency in life. I think that's admirable. I might take up fishing. Seems like a big deal here in Maine, as one would expect. And I'm not, you know, I'm not huge into fishing. I've only been once. So I can't really say that I know much at all about it. But yeah, my leg is now completely asleep. But it seems like a fun way of getting a little bit of food. Seems relatively cheap. And maybe there's like a lake or a river nearby that I can go like walk over to or something. Living in a walkable city is ridiculous and is going to save us so much money. Canceled my car insurance, and that's going to be an extra $70 a month that we have, you know, not to mention having to pay for a car, which we'd have to buy a new one because, you know, we didn't take the last one with us. Like being able to just like, I don't know, not deal with stuff like that is kind of huge. Again, I feel lucky, you know, I feel very lucky because this is a dream come true for us. Being able to have things just work out and it be in our price range too. I think for a lot of millennials, you know, having a house is a dream, not one that we have currently, but this feels enough like a house. And it feels like this is going to be a permanent solution, more or less. But, you know, I could definitely see settling down here for the next, I don't know, 40, 50 years, assuming that whoever takes over the business after my landlord passes on, because he's an older gentleman, God forbid, or whatever you want to say, that happens anytime soon. But yeah, I think that will be what we end up doing, just because it's beautiful. Hopefully this leads into the Rev Positivity arc where everything just goes right for us. And I want to thank everyone again on YouTube, on Twitch, on Patreon, on wherever you happen to support me, you know, whether or not it's monetarily or just like viewing my stuff. It just feels amazing that like I actually get to do this, man. Like, that was huge, not having to try and figure out a job for myself and just trying to find something for Tilda, my wife. And just being able to say, like, we'll get to it, you know? we'll be able to afford what we need, and we'll be happy. And looks like that's what we worked out. So here's an art tip I would say. Don't sit in such a position that your leg falls asleep, because if you do, you'll start rushing your drawing and you go from being able to draw this well to this well. Oh well. Let's put in these slats for the building. This one has them too, but they're not as prevalent. We do need to do a bit of shading here. I mean, sketching, primarily, for me at least, is figuring out these weirdnesses. Like, I saw that chair, and I only think I would have like really studied to see that chair because of doing the sketch. Seeing that the window is almost at ground level is nice. And then we just add some... a little impressionist with some of these bushes. There's actually a little bit of a, I don't know what kind of wall that is, but I should have probably drawn this a little bit to the left, but oh well. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this little life update, and I hope you don't mind that, you know, we're not doing the best, biggest art right now, but I hope to do some paintings based on some of the buildings and some of the things that I've seen recently, as well as just like, I don't know, starting a more positive arc in my life where just things are working out, you know? Maybe being happy. Give that a go. Turns out, and this is a wild thing, happiness is usually found by just having your needs fulfilled. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs and such say maybe the real problem with a lot of people isn't people, it's everything else. Anyway, that's my drawing for today and the video for today. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't like it, let me know. And I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, heart, whatever stuff that YouTube has nowadays. And I'll see you in the next one with like paint. Won't that be exciting? I'll try out gouache soon too. That seems like a good idea. I'll see you then.